5 times 5 is?
25.
Yeah. Hey folks, welcome this afternoon. We've got a specialized segment. Can it be such a thing? I believe so. I'm Ernie Roberts. I'm your host this afternoon for specialized segments, which means it's not a phone time, it's not a call-in show, but this is a test prep review session type day, all right? We're going to work through some problems together, but I want you to also feel free to write these things down at home, wherever you are. Put them down there, work through them. You can stop and start me if you're watching online and things like that. It's a great way to help. If you're watching a TV show live or whatever, I know it's kind of hard to stop us, right? But we'll play along with you as best we can. But go ahead and write problems down as I get to them, and let's work them through. We're going to do equations today. It's all about equations. I think we're going to find that out from our topic of the day. Let's see what I actually think we're doing today. We're doing basic linear equations, and we're going to make it a good test prep session here. So get those pencils, get paper, calculators, all those good things, and let's play with some equations. So let's take a look at our first situation. Again, I always emphasize when we solve an equation, check your solution. That is, it's just so important. And a lot of times on these multiple choice tests that you take at the end of semesters or for ACTs, SATs, those kind of situations, you've got a lot of solutions there. And sometimes you can just go, I don't know what to do. I'll just plug them in there. Other times they're looking for you to get an X that takes you somewhere else. So be careful of the fact that you really still need to know how to get through the process of solving these equations. So let's take a look at our first one. I hope you've got it written down by now at home. It says 20 minus 8x equals 3 times, in the parentheses, that is x minus 8, and close the parentheses. Fairly straightforward. I put this up here because there are little common mistakes that pop up in a problem just this simple. And remember, ACTs, SATs, they're trying to get you through a problem a minute. So the mistakes, if they happen, you usually don't have much time to go back and fix them. So let's see if we can avoid them up front. Let's talk about it. Distributive property right there waiting for us, the big D. And we're going to take the 3 and distribute it all the way through there. Now this is pretty straightforward. Little mistake that people like to make. Oh yeah, we'll hit 3x, but we forget about the 8. All right, you've got to take it all the way through. If it helps you, draw those lovely arrows. You can mark all over test booklets and test papers and ACTs, SATs. You can do all that all the time you want. So go ahead and mark on them. And you get 3x, right? And know your times tables here, minus 24. Nobody should be at this point, if you're taking testing on these things, really should not be looking at what 3 times 8 is. All right, that cuts into your time. Also cuts into your routine, breaks your train of thought, all sorts of good things. So there we are. On the left-hand side, nothing has happened. And do not, next big mistake, I'll tell you, I'm going to hit all the pitfalls in this problem. Next big mistake is some people want to say 20 minus 8 and get 12. That does not work here. This has got an X, this does not. They're not like terms. Leave them separated. Got it? So that is your second step right there. Now, if it will help you, and I know some of our students and some of our teachers do this, and I like it. You basically say, you've got this little river going down here. You cannot cross over it unless you change the signs, all right? If that will help you remember that, I am all for it. What I like to do is I like to move the X's first because sometimes interesting things happen with those. And in this case, it looks pretty interesting to me. We have a positive 3x. We're going to, you got it, do the opposite. We're going to subtract 3x. Remember, that little properties of equality say whatever we do to the right-hand side, we've got to do it to the left-hand side also. So let's go and subtract 3x out of there. Isn't that lovely? I like that. And we'll just draw a little line here and say, we're going to do that. Say goodbye to your 3x's on the right. They're gone, all right? What's left is not just 24, but we've got I'll put the equals right down there in the middle. We have a negative 24 still hanging on. Don't forget that sign, another common mistake. Here we have still now 20. Now these have x's. These you can put together. And that's going to give you 20 minus 11x. Right, there we go. Life is beginning to come pretty easy. Now remember what I said. There's another common mistake. My friends, that 20 is positive. Oh, there's a minus behind it. Yes, there is. But that 20 is positive. We want to move it over. Yes, you got it. We're going to send it over to what? The other side, right? So we're going to take and subtract 20 because it is positive. So be careful on that. That means we're also subtracting 20 over here. Now pick it out, pick it up, whatever you want to do. Say goodbye to those 20s on the left, but hello to a 44, a negative 44 by the way. I say, by the way, a lot, don't I? On this case, make sure you keep the two negatives adding up to give you a negative. That's only multiplication and division where they go positive when you join two negatives together by that operation. So keep our negative 11x hanging on, and by the way, don't lose that negative. It's still there. It's a part of the problem. So it's now time to fix this. Or finish it, I should say. Well, I hope we don't have to fix it. We'll find out in a minute. Looks like we're going to divide both sides by this negative 11. And you know what that's going to give us? That is going to give us x equals 4. Now, I draw the arrow here. We'll just join forces here because we're going to check. So we're going to go back to 20 minus 8x equals our 3 times x minus 8. And what we're going to do, we're going to put our 4, you got it, we're going to put our 4 in everywhere we see an x. I'm going to write it just up above there, all right? And right above here is a substitution. We're substituting here. And what we're going to do, we're going to check to make sure this answer is good. And by the way, a lot of you have come to the point where you probably can move through that rather quickly. I took it step by step. Once again, I tend to play like the teacher a lot. But I like to point out where you're going to make mistakes so that you don't make them, all right? Now, quick check here. I'm seeing 20 minus, that looks like 8 times 4. We know we multiply before we subtract, right, everybody? So that's 32 equals, it looks like 3 times, I get a 4, parentheses, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally at this point. And I'm getting a negative 4 in there, which is, we'll figure out in a minute, all right? We got 20 minus 32, that gives me negative 12 on the left. And you know what 3 times negative 4 is going to give us? Oh yeah, negative 12 on the right. So that checks, and my friends, a lot of you can do that mentally. You can do that in your head. Again, I'm just showing you the process. Just remember, my dear Aunt Sally is a great tool for helping you check. And when you get a parenthesis in there, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Remember, parentheses, exponents, then your multiply and divide equal precedence, equal treatment, then adding and subtracting left to right equal treatment, all right? So it doesn't matter whether subtraction comes first or addition at the very, very end because it's all left to right at that point. So check them in that regard. And you know, we're off to a good start here on this great little test prep review. And again, those are some of the possibilities of where things go a little bit awry. Let's take a look at our next problem here we've got. And this is one of those that just panics people because there's a fraction. There's a 4 there. Go to look at a couple of ways that we could do this. You could drop a 1 underneath this 15, this negative 15 over here, if you will. That is a negative. That's a big one, isn't it? Over 1, and we can cross multiply. That's a sweet way to get out of this problem. It really is a nice way. And it's the same effect as if you were to do another option. You could take and multiply everything by 4 over 1 and just clean out the fraction. In fact, that's probably what most of you would have done, and that's fine. But guess what's going to happen? You're going to get the same thing, whether you cross multiply it at this point or whether you just clear it by 4 over 1. So whatever works good for you guys, grab it and go. Grab it and go. Now, get these 4s out of the way because they're gone. That was what we did that one. Why did we choose 4? Because it's going to cancel, right? Multiplication. It's like a reciprocal effect. This is divided by 4. We're going to multiply by 4 to undo that division that we've got going here. So I see 3x minus 12. Everybody else, yeah, you got it, right? Over here, it's just multiplication time. Kick that through. Most of you can do that without a calculator. If you need a calculator, hit it quick, but move on. By the way, when you get a negative times a positive number, don't do the typing in on the calculator. Just say 15 times 4, and then hit the right sign, right? We know it's negative. So we get negative 60 going there, and we're ready to cook this thing into order, okay? Now, what are we going to do? We want x by itself. That's the whole idea of balancing these things. And at this point, it's a rather easy equation to look at. Your x's are together, no need to move them. I see students so many times going, oh, you don't want to move it. Why? It's nice that you can, but you don't need to. You got it all by itself there, leave it be. I'd say the same thing if you were on the right side, all by itself there, leave it alone. But let's add the 12. And we do it to, the other side. We did it to the left, we got to do it to the right. So here we go, addition, property of equalities, for those of you who like the fancy words. And where do we go from there? Well, we got a 3x on the left because, say goodbye to the 12s. On the right, we have a, what do we have there? Everybody want to guess with me? We just added 12. I believe we're going to have a negative 48. Watch that sign. That negative is bigger than the positive, all right? That's a place where a mental error can happen. Now, what's going to happen at this point? I think, we all think, hopefully, I think we're going to divide by 3. And we can do that. It goes in there evenly. It's nice when it goes in evenly. And that's going to give us a negative 16. Our x is equal to negative 16. Quick check. All right, I'm going to put it back in here. I'm going to just go ahead and run that negative 16 right in there. By the way, if you're on an ACT, SAT, you could stick it right over that number and see what goes on, all right, from your original. But go back to the original equation. Don't start checking here. That's not going to help much, all right? What you need to do is take it all the way back to that original equation. There we have it, that 3 times negative 16. And we're going to subtract 12. And we're going to put all that good stuff over 4. And we're going to hopefully get a negative 15. So it looks like this side is the working side, right? So I've got a negative 48. I'm going to subtract 12. All right, that's like two negatives jamming together, but we're doing what? We're doing addition, right? We're saying a negative 48 plus that negative 12. It's not multiplication. And that sounds like a negative 60 over 4 to equal negative 15, and we know that's going to work. So there you have it. Check all the way, check out. There you have it. Quick mental checks, all right? It's just a good thing. And you say, well, Ernie, what if it's a multiple choice, so my answer's already there. But you know what? You may be off by a sign or something like that, something real careful. So just go back and do a quick mental check, and then if it's not right, go back and fix it, okay? Redo it, fix it, figure out what went wrong, or maybe try another solution, say, oh, that one was the worker, okay? But that's the starting on there. So again, a little test prep hints and stuff. Let's take a look at the next problem here, a little algebra going on. Whew, got parentheses again. And this time, we have no number in front of that parenthesis, and that does freak out people because they forget what to do. So let's play first of all on the 4. Remember I said earlier about distributing, go all the way to that negative 5, but stop. 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 Don't go beyond that, okay? Now, on the next piece, I got a 1. So really don't have, yeah, we do. We can put a 1 in there if that'll help you keep it straight. But it's a negative 1 that's being multiplied, and it does not stop at 4x. No! 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 Keeps going. We got to hit that 8 over here, all right? So we are going to get a negative 4x right there. But we're also going to get a minus 8. And that's important because if you don't hit that little trigger there, life is not good. It's not a good thing, all right? So let's distribute, see what's going to go on. I've got 8x, keep with me, minus 20. And, you know, by the time I tell you all the pitfalls, most of you have gone ahead and gone like, I got it. I figured this out. And that's great. I hope you are. Minus 4x. Minus 8 equaling to our value of 20. There we go. Kicking, clicking, and all the good things. Now, again, we got like terms. We got signs. We got all sorts of stuff going on here. So let's first of all look at 8x minus the 4x because they go together. They're like terms. That's going to give us 4x, which is really kind of sweet because no matter how goofy things I've done with you, hopefully they'll all work out, okay? Now, on the other part here, we've got a minus 20 there, and we got a minus 8, which gives us what? Negative 28. Careful on your adding, okay? You're just adding two negatives together. Keep the negative, just add them. And we got the 20 waiting over here. Now it's time to, you got it, maneuver things around. Add 28. And let's see, we got 4x. Because they go, right? By the way, why do we add 28? Because it said subtract. We do the opposite, correct? Over here, we're at 48. And hopefully going to get a good answer. I'm catching x to equal, that goes evenly, doesn't it? That's going to give us 12, all right? Now, quick check. How about it? We got 4 times 2 times 12. Ooh, a lot of stuff going on here. And we're going to have to subtract 5. And then we're going to still do all multiplication at the end. So, my friends, this is a big parenthesis. I'm going to put a bracket around it so it looks a little more impressive. All right, then we got this minus 4 times 12. What is it this time? Oh, plus 8. Now, let's go back here just a second. Make sure that is 4 times 12, and then the plus 8 is separated. All right? So that's your next little thing. You're going to subtract all that good stuff. So you're going to work this little clump out. You're going to work this little clump out, and you hopefully will get 20. That's the look. That's what we're hoping for, all right? So let's see what happens on that. Whew, that's a lot of numbers here, isn't it? Well, I'm looking at 4 times 19. How'd I get that? Because I know 2 times 12 is 24. Think about your money. 24 minus 5 is 19. All right, we're going to subtract all this good stuff. Whew. Wow, what is it? 4 times 12 is what? 48. And let's add 8 to that. Again, think about money. We're going to have 56 because we work the parentheses, then we subtract to check. Got it? Everybody good on that? Now, 4 times 19, you may need a quick calculator, but how about I think of it this way? You know 4 times 20 is what? 80? Lose a 4. Subtract a 4 off that, you're going to have 76. There's some ways to do some mental math that you can get around some of these nasty computations and have to go to the calculator. Others of you said, Ernie, by the time I thought of that, I'd be on the calculator. You're right. Do we get 20? We certainly do. So 20 equals 20. We check out. We got a good answer, all right? So always, like I said, check in solution, important thing. It really is. And always just, a mental check. And as I said, I wrote it all down here. It takes a little more time, right, obviously. But if you can do it mentally, that mental math, that's why I emphasize those mental math skills and watch, not middle, but mental. Mental math skills. So anyway, you get the idea. Let's have some more fun. How about it? Let's do some fraction stuff. Ooh, yes. Solve the equation, check your solution. This time, oh my goodness, I brought 3/4 x. Go ahead and copy this one down. 3/4 of x. We're going to subtract 5/8 x. Notice they have x's. Oh, and then you said, Ernie, you got a little messy with us, didn't you? We have a 1/2, and that equals to 1/4. Now, some of you get a little all really misty-eyed with fractions. I know. But look at these. 4, 8, 2, and 4. They're easy to work with. They're easy to work with because we're going to be looking for some common denominators. First of all, let's put these two guys together. We need a common denominator. 4 and 8, it's easy. Double the 4, you got your 8. So you're going to be 6/8 x. And about the time most of you are taking these kind of questions on an ACT test, you see that immediately, right? Others of you go, you still a little hate fractions. Yeah, but that's what happens. 1/2 equals to your 1/4. There we go, all right? Already it looks a little bit nicer. Now, put these two little guys together. They're like terms. This one's going to have to go over the other side. Sorry about that. And if we drop on my lower third, I'm going to go ahead and put these guys together. We've got 1/8 of x plus a 1/2 equaling to 1/4. And already I'm liking this so much better. I mean, it's just not nearly as crazy looking as those things are up there. Now, kick that 1/2 out of there. Let's subtract it. And I'm going to go and use some mental math moments here, all right? Keep the 1/8 x, but you know what? We know theirs are going away, all right? On this side, you have just taken a 1/4 and subtracted a 1/2 from it. It's going negative, right? Because a 1/2 is bigger than a 1/4. Exactly right. Got it. Nod with me. You got it. Put a negative on there, and what do you get? Think about it. 1/4 minus a 1/2. You got a 1/4. It's negative. It's a negative 1/4. All right? So quickly, how do we get out of this? We still got fractions. Some of you going, Ernie, I don't like fractions. Well, some of you might have wanted to clear everything out with an 8. I get a little nervous when we do that this early because so many times when we clear out with the 8s, trying to clear the denominators out completely, we leave one out or we forget to do it correctly. I like to simplify as much as we can. Now we can play that game, multiply by 8. You can use the reciprocal, which is exactly what we're going to do, 8/1. And things really work out nice on this. I can't guarantee your problems will always work out this nicely when you deal with fractions, but I tried to make this one do it so you don't go freaking out on me here. And we've got a -2. Got -2. Now, put in your -2 back up here. That's going to be what? Well, what do you think it's going to be? It's going to be 6/4. We want to make that an 1/8. Why not? 6/8. So what do we got then? If we multiply by -2, we're going to have a -12/8. All right, so let's think about that. -12/8. And, we got to put, -2 makes this go positive. Doesn't that get kind of crazy? So you know what's going to happen when we put it in there. You got to be careful with your checking. That's what I'm pointing out to you. So let's go ahead and do a little quick check here. I'm about out of room. Hope we can get these all in there. I'm going to go ahead and say 3/4 times that. That's going to give me -6/4. This is going to go positive. Please make note of that because we're going to run a -2 times the -5/8. So when you check, watch your signs. Watch your signs. Very important. It's going to be 10/8. And that's nice because that's in, we got it. Yeah. So we're going to add 1/2. And we're going to hopefully end up with a 4th. Lots of stuff going on there to check, right? Well, here's what I would do. I would make all these 8ths. Okay? Make them all common denominators and let's see what happens. Actually, we'll see what happens when we get on the left side. I think it's going to reduce down to 1/4. It should. So let's play it out here. We've got 8ths here. I see -12/8 plus 10/8 plus, you got it, 4/8. Does that sound good? I like it. equal to 1/4, okay? Now piece it together. Just get these all together. I see 14 in the positive. Subtract is 2/8, equaling to 1/4, which is very, very true. So that checks out. Don't let the fractions bother you. Again, play your like terms if you get a problem like this. Put them together. And then work that half and that fourth, because usually you're going to see things like benchmark fractions. You might see a third or a sixth working together, things like that. But you're going to see some things that make it work. They're not trying to give you crazy fractions that are going to be like 29 or 56 or something like that. You're going to be able to work through them pretty quickly on those. If you do get a fractional type problem, you just got to know your rules. That's what the testing is all about, right? Let's play it. We've got another one coming our way here to watch out for. Got a 5y leading the way here. We're going to solve and check. Got a 5y, and we got a -4 times in the parentheses, 4 minus y, equaling to our 3y minus 16. Let's see if we can just click through this, all right, without really me talking too much to you. You say, Ernie, you can't quit talking, can you? It's really probably very true, but let's see what happens. We've got 5y that's going to hang on. Watch your signs. I'm going to say it really strongly here because that's not a 4, that's a -4 going through there. And this is going to give us minus 16, and it's going to kick in a 4y over here. Watch out very closely. On the other side, I'm seeing 3y minus 16. Already some of you are going like, oh, that looks really strange. Be sure you do not decide to say 5 minus 16. It's not going to fly here. There's not a y there, right? So we got 9y. Minus the 16, equaling our 3y minus 16. Odd things are about to happen, but just play it like you don't think odd things are about to happen, all right? You got it? Because hopefully by now you're starting to look through these things and say, there's going to be something interesting about this answer. And I will tell you why in just a second. Lose the 3y. Subtract it here, subtract it to the left. Again, good old properties of equality, subtraction this time. Take away from the right, you got to take it away from the left. I'm seeing 6y minus 16 equaling, a negative 16. Be sure you keep that sign or else you'll really get a goofy answer. A not good answer at all. So now everybody's going, wait a minute, we had 16. Yes, we do, because we want to move that minus 16 out of there. But what happens over here on the right when we add 16? We get 6y on the left. That was easy. But what do we get over here? Sometimes I have students that look at it and say, it's blank. What do? There's a number that represents a nothing, okay? It's called 0. That's what we have here. Now, don't go and blow it again, and when you say, oh, we're going to divide 6 into 0, and it goes 6 times. It doesn't. 6 times 6 is 36. I need a 0. So on this one, this simply goes out to y equals 0. Now, it's easy to check. I put a 0 right there. I put a 0 right here and right here. And my friends, everything's gone except a negative 16 and a negative 16. So that checks out easily when we run it mental math there. And yes, 0 is quite a good answer. Don't forget that. That's a quote from Ernie Roberts to you, all right? So it is still a solution. It does not mean there is no solution, which would probably, if it's multiple choice test, would be one of your choices. Options, that's another whole big story. Let's see if we can work one more in here real quickly and go to the house for today. We've got 5 minus 4x. And over here, I've got a 2 that needs to be distributed, right? Times x plus 1. Kick it real quick. Gets 2x plus 2. And my goodness, what do we got to work with? I think what we got to work with here is, let's get rid of this 2x. So subtract. I'm seeing 5 minus 6x. Some of you are already going, oh, that made it bigger, didn't it? Oh, it's okay. And equals 2 right here. Let's get, and watch out. That 5 is? You got it, positive. Everybody's ahead of me, right? So subtract 5. You got negative 6x. I see negative 3. We all see negative 3 there, right? And some of you go like, answer's 2. I don't think so. Negative 2, or excuse me, 6 times 2, or 6 times negative 2, or whatever you think you want to put in there, it's not a 2, all right? So what we're going to do, we're going to divide both sides by negative 6, and you know what's going to happen? We get a fraction, and it's okay. We get x equaling to 1/2. Because 3 over 6 reduces. And, what's the sign on it? Is there a negative on there? We want to make sure. We divided by a negative 6, right? so it stays positive. All right, so be careful on that. That's another little mistake. We sometimes get excited and forget to bring the negative across both times. Don't do that, all right? Remember I said we're going to look for a lot of mistakes going on here. Put your half in there. My goodness, that's going to be 1.5 times 2. That gives us 3. Put a half in here. That gives you 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. How's that for mental math checking? See how, and it is easy when you can make 4 times a half. Or you can add your 1.5 times your 2. Just think about it. It's just logical, right? And it checks out when you do the mental work. All right, so there you have it. A good little review on exercises on equations, linear equations, because we didn't have any squareds in there, did we? We'll look at another show on that another day, all right, but not today. But linear equations, and it's in one variable. Now, we can get 2 variables, yep, but we're not going there today either, all right, because this time's almost up. Don't forget, we got Facebook going on. You can check us there. You can check us on YouTube to see this show, even if you want to repeat it. But anyway, thank you for tuning in today, and we will see you again next time.